Okay, we'll get underway. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the council meeting. I would ask everybody to be in attention while we have the affirmation. We recognise the traditional owners of the land. We are inspired by the early pioneers and by those who gave their lives for our country. We now ask God's blessing on our deliberations and on our commitment to build a better lifestyle and environment. Thank you for that. Nothing ever goes right when you want it to, does it?
Oh yeah, I've got. Oh, thanks. I've got that.
Going back to the start of my agenda, if anybody's wondering. Okay, so item number 2 on the agenda today is the swearing in of the new councillor. And on behalf of all the other councillors, Trevor, we welcome you to not only the council meeting, but to the swearing in today. The Local Government Act requires me to introduce the CEO to go through the official procedure under the Local Government Act of your swearing in. So over to you, Liana.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Welcome, Trevor. So the Section 30 of the Local Government Act 2020 requires that a person elected to be a councillor is not able to act as a councillor until they have taken the oath or the affirmation of office as prescribed in the regulations. So under the Local Government Governance and Integrity Regulations 2020, the oath or affirmation of office can be taken in person or with the approval of the Chief Executive Office remotely by means of audio-visual link, which is what we're doing. So congratulations first, and I'd ask the newly elected councillor of the Southwest Ward, Trevor Errol Greedy, to read after me the oath of office and make a declaration that he's read and will abide by the Northern Grampians Shire Councillor Code of Conduct. This documentation will be signed at a later date. So Trevor, pardon me, I'm just getting the oath of office in front of me. So Trevor Errol Greedy. If you would say after me, I swear by Almighty God that I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor.
I swear by Almighty God that I will undertake the duties of office of councillor in the best interests of the municipal community. I will abide.
I will abide
by the Council Code of Conduct, uphold and the standards of conduct set out in the Council Code of Conduct. I will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 2020 or any other act to the best of my skill and judgment.
Thank you very much, Councillor Grady. Welcome to the team.
Thank you very much.
On behalf of the organisation, we look forward to working with you on your term. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Back to you.
Okay, thank you for that, and congratulations, Trevor, and welcome to the team. Item number 3 on the agenda today is the confirmation of the minutes. We have 5 minutes to deal with today: the 7th of September, 21st of September, 9th of November, 12th of November and the 23rd of November. I take it they're an accurate record of the minutes of our previous meetings. Yes, I'm getting nods all around there, so it must be okay, Mary. Item 4, any matters arising from those minutes?
Mr. Mayor, I'm happy to move those minutes. It's a true and correct record.
Okay, thank you. Could I have a seconder there, please? Thank you, Councillor Haswell. All in favour?
Yep.
Against? Carried, thank you. Any matters arising? Item 4. No matters arising, thanks. Item 5, any presentations or awards? I'm getting a few shake of the heads there, so obviously we haven't got any presentations or awards. Any petitions or joint letters? Same again, nobody is indicating that there's any petitions or joint letters. Item 7 is the disclosure of councillors' interest at a council meeting. Any declarations in regards to conflict of interest?
Yes, I'll declare that I had a conflict of interest in regards to item number 10.2.1, the funding request in regards to Central Grampians Local Learning Employment Network, and I'm currently the chair of that organisation of the board, so I'll remove myself from that conversation when it comes time. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Dempsey. Any other conflicts? Thank you. Item number 8 is the informal meetings of councillors over the last few months. And I noticed there's around about 30 meetings, briefings that we've had over the last, since September. So we certainly haven't been idle in regard to that. Should I say there's 7 meetings and a total of about 30 items that we've discussed. And they're there for anybody's information. I just might bring to everybody's attention under the economical growth briefings, we've adopted the annual report, the quarterly financial report, funding requests, sister ops, RCV committee delegations. Under the lifestyle and community briefings, arts and culture policy has been discussed. Under the economic growth, these are just a few that I'm just running through. The North Park decommissioning of the old buildings, the North Park Dog Park and community gardens. We certainly haven't been idle in the last few months. There's quite a long list of discussions that we've been having over the last few months. Item number 9, any items brought forward? Thank you. 10.1, the consideration of reports of the officers, and the first one is 10.1.1, the Lord Nelson Park multi-purpose design. The purpose of this section is to provide council with a concept design ready for acceptance following extensive development and consultation with the key stakeholders. We have a officer's recommendation. Could I get a motion in regard to that, please?
Happy to move the motion, Mr. Mayor, that the council accepts the Lord Nelson Park multi-purpose pavilion concept plan and approves progression to the next stage of detailed design for construction.
Thank you for that, Councillor Driscoll. Could I get a seconder, please?
Happy to second, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Irwin. Councillor Driscoll, would you like to speak on the motion?
I certainly would, Mr. Mayor. I think this is a great initiative. Came out of our precinct plan endorsed by the council in 2015. We've done considerable stakeholder engagement with our communities in terms of all the user groups, harness, hockey, football, netball, ag society, have all been part of this magnificent enterprise. We've done a heap of work around obviously advocating for funds in terms of funding requirements. We've got $700,000 as an election commitment from the state government. We've got $500,000 from the federal government, $100,000 from AFL, and the balance of funds to be put in by the Northern Grampians Shire Council. There's also a $150,000 community contribution, and that's been progressed through a specifically formed fundraising group to facilitate these funds. So It's been a long journey for our community, but I think this is a really exciting stage in terms of the old, people can see the old Tote building's been removed. Now we move on to the design, as I said, in terms of really nailing it down. This will be a design and construct process. The reality is that this will be the most economical way to get a building fit for purpose for our community, using, I suppose, being fiscally responsible with our funds. So I have much pleasure in endorsing this proposal.
Thank you, Councillor Driscoll. Before I go to Councillor Irwin, I hear we have some budding future junior council people in the background there.
Yeah, apologies about that. That's my audience, actually. Yeah, that's about local government being open and transparent. I've got my own audience over here. Okay.
That's it. Thank you for that. Councillor Irwin, you're the seconder.
Yeah, well said, Councillor Driscoll, under extreme duress. Look, it is an exciting project, as Councillor Driscoll said. It has been a long time coming, and I'm sure the community of Sonata, who have had a lot of input into this project, will be really grateful for this in the future. And it's exciting to take another step along the line, and not too distant future, we'll see construction commence. So really exciting times, and well deserved.
Thank you, Councillor Irwin. Any other councillors like to speak? Now, before Councillor Driscoll sums up, a great effort by everybody involved in this. I know we're only at the start of the journey right now in regard to the construction, but it's going to be a wonderful facility, and I'm sure everybody specifically in the Sonata area is now aware that it's starting to take some shape. Been needed for a long, long time, as Councillor Driscoll has said, and now hopefully it will come to fruition. Councillor Driscoll, would you like to sum up on the motion?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think, as I said, it's a great sense of excitement and achievement for our community, and echoing the sentiments, I suppose, in terms of I am excited. I apologise, my grandson was as well, but this is a great move for our community. Thank you. Thank
you for that. I'll put, if there's nobody else wishes to speak, I'll put the motion to the vote by show of hands, if I could. All in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you for that. Item 10.1.2, the Sonata Community Plan. And the purpose here is to receive the revised Sonata Community Plan for 2020 to 2030, following feedback received from the public over a period of time. Could I get a motion in regard to that, please? Thank you, Councillor Driscoll.
That Council receives the Sonata Community Plan.
Thank you. Can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Dempsey, thank you very much. Councillor Driscoll.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This plan was virtually co-designed with the community. Lead partner was SCAN in terms of facilitating between us, Council and SCAN, a number of workshops to identify what particular projects the community would like to see for the next 10 years. It's a roadmap, I suppose, of where we're going, or where the community would like to head. And from that perspective, it's set across 4 themes: our place, our community and services and facilities, our economy, and our environment. A lot of great ideas have come out of it, and certainly a lot of it has been owned by the community. Some have been progressed with council support. The Community Initiative have initiated some other things, even in these tough COVID times. So it's been a pretty good outcome, I think, from our perspective. Having said that, it needs to be reviewed annually just to make sure that we're on track. And obviously we don't want to be too stoic in the sense if new opportunities come up, we need to be able to include those in the plan as well. And obviously it's predicated around council's budget requirements as well in terms of delivery. But certainly I commend this plan. I think it's a great initiative. It's owned by the community, and council, we hope to deliver on behalf of our community.
Thank you, Councillor Driscoll. Councillor Dempsey.
Thanks, Murray. Yeah, I think it's really great. The plan's looking really wonderful and really exciting for the Sonata community. the SCAN network, so the Sonata Community Network, have done a great job working as a major stakeholder in the work, as well with council and the broader community. And it's really, yeah, really exciting, and looking forward to seeing what can be achieved in the wonderful town. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Any other councillors like to speak in relation to 10.1.2, the Sonata Community Plan? No, thank you. Go back to Councillor Driscoll for summing up, please.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Mayor. I think, as I said, it's a great vision for our community, and I certainly commend the input the community have given us. And as I said, we look forward to delivering as many of these initiatives as council can within our budget and obviously our means.
Thank you. I'll put the motion to the vote by show of hands. All in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. 10.1.3, the Arts and Culture Policy and Strategy. The purpose is to adopt the new development of the Arts and Culture Policy 2020 for the period of 2020 to 2024. We have an officer's recommendation. Could I get a motion in regard to that, please?
Mr. Mayor, I'm happy to move that Council adopts the Arts and Cultural Policy 2020 and that Arts and Cultural Strategy 2024.
Thank you very much. Councillor Irwin, could I have a seconder, please? Can you unmute and whoever wants to second and state your intention, please? Councillor Dempsey, I think.
Oh, yes, I can. Sorry. Yep, I'm happy to second that motion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Irwin?
Bit slow on the trigger finger with the unmuting. Look, this policy has been quite a while coming, and it's had a lot of input from the art community within our council, within our municipality, and hopefully it hits the mark, and we can see some advancement in all art forms throughout the Northern Grampians. We've seen some great work done in Sonata, and hopefully that can be carried through to the rest of the Shire. Obviously, we do have budget constraints in regard to this, but we'll do what we can, and I think it will make Northern Grampians a better place.
Thank you, Councillor Irwin. Councillor Dempsey?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I agree with Councillor Irwin there, and we've taken on board community feedback, and that's been incorporated into the plan moving forward, and hopefully it can provide some really great opportunities going forward from the arts and culture space.
Thank you. Any other councillors like to speak in relation to 10.1.3, the Arts and Culture Policy and Strategy? I might just say well done to Liana and her team. You know, in reality, we've probably neglected the arts policy somewhat over the years, and just recently we've had a number of meetings with a number of different organisations to make sure we put something in place that will carry us forward into the years to come. And that work is now starting to come to fruition. Thanks must go to Tina in particular for her very hard work in regard to it. And we'll be endeavouring now, if the policy is voted in, which I'm hoping it will be in a moment's time, that we start to head in a very positive direction in regard to arts and culture within our community. Councillor Irwin, would you like to sum up on the motion?
Nothing further, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. By show of hands, I'll ask councillors to vote, please. For? Against? Carried. Thank you. Uh, 10.2, under the Boost Economic Growth umbrella. 10.2.1 is a funding request. The purpose of this is a request for financial support from the Central Grampians Local Learning and Employment Network. And Councillor Dempsey, you need to make a declaration in regard to conflict, please.
Yes, so I'm just declaring a conflict of interest in regards to 10.2.1, and I'll remove myself now from further discussion and come back when you're finished.
Okay, thank
Enjoy.
you for that. We'll pause a second or two while Councillor Dempsey disqualifies herself. Vaughan, I think that's Councillor Dempsey has left the meeting momentarily.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, we have a officer's recommendation here. Could I get a motion in regard to that recommendation, please?
Mr Mayor, I'm happy that Council agrees to fund the L2P Learner Driver program for 1 year and to review that funding request again in 12 months' time.
Thank you, Councillor Irwin. Could I have a seconder, please?
I'm happy to second that, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Haswell. Councillor Irwin.
Yeah, look, this is a great program. It's really for those people who don't have access to a vehicle to learn how to drive, basically. I think since 2013 to 19, there's been 88 learners who have obtained their licence, and currently the program is 23 people are currently using that program. So it's an active program. There's been a bit of a change in vehicles, I think, too, to a leasing arrangement the start of this year. It is a great program, and I think if kids can get the opportunity to learn to drive safely, we might see a little bit less road trauma from our younger people on the road. So it's a great program. Happy to fund it for another 12 months. I think there's a bit of a review happening to the whole program. The TAC do fund part of it, and we'll see what happens in 12 months. But a great program, and happy to see the funding for another 12 months.
Thank you, Councillor Irwin. Councillor Haswell.
Yes, very happy to fund this for another 12 months. Terrific opportunity for those kids that can't get access to a motor vehicle, and having a driver's licence in our region is very important, as we all know. So very happy to recommend that one.
Thank you, Councillor Haswell. Any other councillors like to speak? No. Councillor Irwin, would you like to sum up?
Yeah, I think as Councillor Haswell said, it's a great program. We are very, very limited in public transport, and kids need to be able to get around for access education and jobs even. So good program, and happy to see it go on for another 12 months.
Thank you very much. By show of hands, I'll put the motion to the vote. All in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you for that. Can we let Councillor Dempsey back in, please?
I've just texted Laura and she'll be in shortly.
Okay, thank you for that, Vaughan. Thank you.
Hello, I'm back.
Thank you. Councillor Dempsey has returned. Thank you for that. We'll now deal with 10.3.1, the planning delegation policy. And the purpose here is to adopt the revised planning delegation policy. And we have an officer's recommendation. Could I get a motion in regard to that, please?
Happy to move that the council adopts the planning delegation policy.
Thank you, Councillor Driscoll. Could I have a seconder, please?
Happy to second, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Irwin. Councillor Driscoll.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. This change comes about a little bit because of the changes to the new Local Government Act in 2020, but also I think it's about trying to reduce the administrative burden in terms of our planning process. Obviously, we can have delegated committees chaired by councillors and officers, and this creates an unnecessary burden, I think, in terms of our planning process. So if we can streamline this a bit in terms of trying to make applications that are less than 5 million, and we can, I suppose, approve them more efficiently without, as we said, administrative excess, I think this is a great initiative. So that's why I commend this motion.
Thank you very much. Councillor Irwin?
I think Councillor Driscoll summed that up pretty well. Nothing further.
Thank you. Any other councillors like to speak in regard to 10.3.1? Okay, before I put it to the vote, I think anything that helps or streamlines the planning direction is more than welcome, and it's a good motion, and I encourage everybody to give it their due diligence. By show of hands, could I see those for the motion? And anybody against? Carried, thank you. Uh, 10.3.2. I'll just check that if I could. Yep, 10.3.2 is the establishment of the new MEMFC, which is the Municipal Emergency Management Planning Committee, commonly known to us within the local government as MEMFC. The purpose of this is for some changes to the Northern Grampians Shire Municipal Emergency Management Planning Committee as a result of the Emergency Management Legislation Amendment Act 2018. We have an officer's recommendation there. Could I get a motion in regard to that?
Happy to move that Council notes the amendments to the Emergency Management Legislation Amendment Act 2018 that outlines changes to the responsibilities and operating arrangements of the Northern Grampians Shire Municipal Emergency Planning Committee, better known as the MEMSI.
Thank you very much, Councillor Irwin. Have a seconder, please. Councillor Driscoll seconding. Thank you.
Happy to second that, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councillor Driscoll. Councillor Irwin?
Yes, these changes have been pushed upon us. I guess Northern Grampians has been fortunate to have a really good MEMSI, great input from the people who will continue to be involved. I guess the main change is the chairperson, which is either the CEO or a nominated staff member. I think we have a nominated staff member who will be the chair of that. Previously, it has been the mayor, and you, Mr. Mayor, and myself and Councillor Driscoll have all chaired that committee for a long time. And I think we may have all received a thank you letter too, but and that's greatly appreciated. But in the future, VicPol, CFA, Ambulance Victoria, SES, Red Cross, and the Department of Health and Human Services will all be involved, as they have been in the past. And I think we've been very fortunate that all those members have been involved in our MEMSI. It may not have been the case right across the state. So we have been fortunate, and we've had our challenges along the way too, in terms of bushfires, floods, droughts, pandemics, grasshoppers. So we have not been immune to the requirements of a MEMSI. So I guess this is a bit of a new era, but thanks to all those who have participated in the MEMSI. I think I've been on it for 21 years, and we are going to continue with a fire prevention committee, which will meet twice a year, and I've been on that for 30 something years. So look, the public probably won't see a lot of change, and I hope this is the end of the changes, because I'd hate to see local knowledge disappear. that would be the stay motherless end from my point of view. We need local knowledge, and it's a very important ingredient in working with disasters.
Thank you, Councillor Irwin. Councillor Driscoll?
Mr Mayor, I think the eloquence of Councillor Irwin has said it all. Experience in his involvement, so I just second it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other councillors like to speak in regard to 10.3.2, the new Memphi arrangements? No, I'll just say one thing before I put the motion to the vote. Being an ex-law enforcement officer, it's a bit disappointing for me to be stepping away from that position, but I'm sure that the people that the CEO are putting in place will handle it much better than what Kevin and Tony and I have over the years, because they have the direct expertise in regard to what is required. So I wish all of them the best of luck. It's a very important part of our organisation, and I'm sure not just councillors within this Shire, but everybody involved in emergency management throughout our Shire appreciates what an organisation like the MEMSI does. And it's been a pleasure to be part of it, and good luck to the people that are carrying that forward. I'll put the motion by show of hands to the vote. All in favour? Thank you. Against? Carried. Thank you. Uh, 10.4.1 is the council action plan update. The purpose of this is to report to council on the progress of the council action plan that was adopted at the 21st of September council meeting. I have an officer recommendation. Could I get a motion in regard to that recommendation, please?
I'm happy to, if you like.
Thank you. Councillor Dempsey is moving the motion. Could I have a seconder, please?
I'll second that, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Haswell. Councillor Dempsey?
Yes, so I move the motion that the council notes the council action plan update report. And this is the update of the 2017 to 21 council plan action plan, council plan and action plan, which just outlines the major initiatives that have been carried out each year. And just the projects and timeframes in which they're being completed, and if it's all on track. So the document provides a traffic light system as to how things are going. The green represents that everything is pretty much on track. Then there's amber, and then the red is when things are off track. And some of those off track items are basically due to some COVID elements where the timeframes are just out a little bit, and things will be happening within the future. So some of those red items haven't dropped off. They've just been delayed due to COVID or other reasons, and haven't fit within the current timeframe. So they'll be pushed out slightly. And some of the amber ones are things that we're keeping an eye on as well. But it's great to see so much work that's been done there, and it really outlines how much work council has really done in the Shire. And it's great to see so many wonderful initiatives. And I believe that document is out to the public as well for people to view what's been happening. So yeah, really great to see that, and I think it's a really wonderful thing to see so much work happening despite having a very interesting 2020.
Thank you very much, Councillor Dempsey. Councillor Haswell?
Nothing further at the moment, Mr Mayor.
Thank you for that. Any other councillors like to speak in regard to item 10.4.1? Okay, Councillor Dempsey, you'd like to sum up?
Yeah, just good job with council really so far, and we're trying to keep things moving and on track. And yeah, nothing further. Thank you.
Thank you. By a show of hands, I'll put the motion to the vote. All in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you for that. 10.4.2, the Sonata Early Learning Centre review. And the purpose here is to advise Council of the findings and action plan, followed by the review of the Sonata Early Learning Centre operations. We have a officer's recommendation. Could I get a motion in regard to that, please?
Happy to move the office, Mr. Mayor, that Council endorses the Sonata Early Learning Centre review and notes that a further review will be presented to Council by 30th of June 2022.
Thank you for that. Could I get a seconder in regard to that motion, please?
Happy to second, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Irwin. Councillor Driscoll, would like to speak on the motion?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Obviously, there's a lot going on in the early years learning space with introduction. We're one of the 6 councils with introduction to 3-year-old kinder. Childcare is a critical part of our community, or our endeavour to keep our community work. It provides obviously a vital cog for staffing in our various organisations. It's come at a bit of a cost, so there's been a bit of a review. We've looked at staffing levels in terms of ratios, hours. Obviously, a lot of this is mandated by the government, but we're trying to trim a bit of fat from it. And the initial prognostications are that we've trimmed about $100,000 from this budget. So that's good. Still maintaining an efficient service delivery model, which is critical as well. So from that perspective, I think this is a really good initiative from our people to try and make it more efficient. It always will cost, but the reality is this is integral to our community in terms of early years, the most formative years of the child's life in terms of educational outcomes. So it's critical that we nurture and encourage this. And so I commend these actions to Council.
Thank you very much. Councillor Irwin?
Yeah, well summed up by Councillor Driscoll. I think it's good that we conduct these reviews of all our services, this being one of them. And we all want to achieve the best outcome for the kids and to make sure we've got an efficient organisation. So a great review, and we'll see what happens in 2022.
Thank you, Councillor Irwin. Any other councillors like to speak in relation to 10.4.2? No. Councillor Driscoll, would you like to sum up?
Oh, just a quick. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I think early years, this whole thing, we're nurturing the future of our shire. So I think it's a very critical service.
Thank you. Good point. I'll put the motion to the vote by show of hands. All in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Uh, 10.4.3, the appointment of council committees, delegations and representatives for 2021. The purpose here is for council to ask councillors to appoint Councillor Tony Driscoll as a representative to the Sonata Recreational Advisory Group, and defer the appointment of other councillors for the next 12 months as detailed in the report. I have a recommendation from the officers here. Could I get a motion in regard to that, please?
Mr. Mayor, I'm happy that Council appoints Councillor Tony Driscoll as its representative to the Sonata Recreation Advisory Group and defers the annual appointment of councillors and office delegates to March 2021.
Thank you for that, Councillor Irwin. Could I have a seconder, please?
Yep, happy to second that.
Thank you, Councillor Dempsey. Councillor Irwin?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Obviously, this is a very vital time for Lord Nelson Park, and I'm sure Councillor Driscoll can more than happily represent Council on that. I was a bit worried about the deferment of delegates, but the current delegates are appointed till March until the annual review happens. So we don't have to drop the ball. Those delegates who are have been on committees before will remain so until March, until the annual review happens. The reason we're doing this, obviously, is because we haven't got a full complement of councillors, and hopefully by then we do have a full complement, and we can share the load around. So that's the reasoning behind it.
Thank you, Councillor Irwin. Councillor Dempsey.
Thanks, Mayor. Yeah, being new to council as well, it's really great to see how many committees that council has representation on. It's fantastic, and yeah, without a full suite of councillors to date, and once we have the by-election for the Karakara ward, we'll have everyone on board and be able to properly delegate everyone to the appropriate positions. Thanks.
Thank you for that. Any other councillors like to speak in regard to 10.4.3? No, I think I should make, before I put the motion to the vote, I should also make the point that Councillor Irwin has made is because of COVID and the by-elections and all the things that we've been trying to deal with the lack of a full constitution of councillors, it's been pretty difficult to put everything in place. I think it also gives the new councillors a couple of months' opportunity to see what they might be interested in and how things work. So I think there's an advantage, always an advantage to things that don't happen immediately like they have in other years. So I think from that point of view, I think it's a good opportunity for our new councillors in Councillor Grady and Councillor Dempsey, just to give them the opportunity to have a bit of a look to see what organisations they might specifically be involved in along the way. So if nobody else wishes to speak, I'll, by show of hands, I'll put the motion to the vote. All in favour? Against? And I should have given Councillor Irwin the opportunity to sum up. Did you want to say anything, Kev?
Just quickly, should have thanked the former councillor, Merrily Reid, too, for her work on the committee. She was the chair, but Councillor Driscoll did attend many of those meetings too, so he's well across the subject. But yeah, just to thank you to Councillor Reid for her participation.
Okay, thank you for that. So I've put the motion to the vote. I'll do it once again to make sure we're on the right track. All in favour by show of hands? Against? Carried. Thank you. Uh, 10.4.4, the Rural Councils of Victoria Committee Representative. The purpose of this is for Council to ratify the nomination of Councillor Tony Driscoll as the Rural Northwest Regional Councillor to represent Rural Councils Victoria Incorporated. We have an officer's recommendation. Could I have a motion in regard to that, please?
Mr. Mayor, I'm happy that Council nominates Councillor Tony Driscoll as a Rural Northwest Regional Councillor representative to the Rural Councils Victoria Committee.
Thank you very much. Have a seconder, please.
Yes, I'm happy to second that motion.
Thank you, Councillor Dempsey. Councillor Irwin?
Yes, just a bit of background. The Rural Councils of Victoria is representatives of our 38 rural councils, and it's been going for around a decade, I think. Councillor Rob Gersh has been the representative for quite some time, for all that time, I think, and he was the original chair. It may be a little bit controversial, but I'm pretty sure that Councillor Driscoll can represent the Northwest area region extremely well, and we'll see what happens. I guess I assume there has to be a vote of some description, and we'll see what happens. But I'm very happy to nominate Councillor Driscoll. He'd be a very good representative.
Thank you. Councillor Dempsey?
Yeah, second everything Councillor Irwin said. I think Councillor Driscoll's got a lot of knowledge and expertise and has been around for a long time and understands the space. And I think having some fresh blood in that area will be great too. Be great to see a representative from Northern Grampians Shire on that committee.
Thank you. Any other councillors like to speak in relation to 10.4.4? Okay, I'll just verify what Councillor Irwin said in regard to the process, all of the councils in the Northwest region have the opportunity to put forward a nomination for Rural Councils Victoria. And of course, if there's more than one from any one of those councils, then it has to go to election. So Tony gets this position on our vote in a moment or two, we would wish him the best of luck. Councillor Irwin, would you like to sum up?
Nothing further, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. By show of hands, I'll put the motion to the vote. All in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Uh, 10.4.5, the council meeting schedule for 2021. The purpose of this report is to set the schedule of council meeting date for February and March in 2021. I have a recommendation, an officer's recommendation. Could I get a motion in regard to that, please? Thank you, Councillor. Hang on, I've got Councillor Haswell first, I think.
Rob, sorry.
Yeah, no
Could I
worries.
get? Could you detail the recommendation, please?
Yeah, the recommendation is that council sets the following schedule for meeting dates in February and March 2021. That's the 1st of February and the 1st of March. The reason, traditionally what we do is we set the schedule for the whole year in December.
Can I just get a seconder before we speak on the motion? Thanks. Can I have a seconder, please?
Yes, I can second that. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Dempsey. Back to Councillor Haswell to speak on the motion. Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor. Sorry about that. Traditionally, council sets the schedule for all of the meetings for the following year in December. However, having just had the general election and 2 by-elections, one of which hasn't happened yet, the recommendation is that we defer the schedule of the meetings beyond March 2021, so that all councillors, once they've joined, have a chance to have input into the meeting cycle.
Thank you very much for that, Councillor Dempsey.
Yeah, apologies there, Rob. I think Councillor Haswell summed that up perfectly. And yeah, it would be great to wait for the other. We've got Trevor here. Welcome, Trevor. And waiting on the second by-election to then go forward with the rest of that for the year.
Thank you for that, Lauren and Rob. I'm sure we'll be doing some work on that as soon as we can, because I think it's they're very important dates to the community who might want to watch what's happening with council. So thank you for that. Any other councillors like to speak? Okay, Councillor Haswell, would you like to sum up?
I think that's about it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. By show of hands, I'll put the motion to the vote. All in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you for that. Item number 11, notices of motion or rescission. And I don't think there is any. No, I'm getting some shaking of heads and noddings and things. I presume there's no notices of motion or rescission. Reports from councillors and committees. Anybody like to report anything specific that they've dealt with over the last month or so? No, thank you for that. Sometimes our reports from councillors and committees is quite lengthy, and then sometimes it is not. So it's hard to work our agenda on how long that might take sometimes. Doesn't mean we're not out there doing things. If I was to put a report in, I could probably take hours on it, as could most councillors, I would have thought. Item number 13, any urgent business items? No, any shakings of head there, thank you. Item 14, any public question time, and I don't think we've been notified of any questions from the public today. Thank you. We have a number of items to discuss in closed council, items of a confidential manner. So could I get a motion in regard to going into closed council, please?
Happy to move the council goes into closed council, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Irwin. Could I have a seconder, please?
I'll second that, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Haswell. All in favour? Against? Carried. Now we will pause for a few seconds until Mr. Williams gives us the okay that we're then in closed council.